What's going on, guys? My name's Zach. Today we're going to be talking about the Vargur, which is the Mimbatar Marauder in EVE Online. Absolutely amazing ship, and we're going to be focusing all of the fits and everything around wormholing. So we're going to split this into parts. We're going to go, the first part's going to be the fitting guide, the second part's going to be sort of survivability and how to use it. And the third part will be covering all of the stats of the ship, because there is a lot of stuff to go through. You can see there I've got a Tengu, so if you want to add links, we've got stats for that. Bastion, obviously, so it's like a 3-stage stat process. And yeah, let's get started on the fit. And there is the fit, guys. Pretty expensive, but we'll go through all of the stuff anyway. So we've got 1400s on the top, and that's just for some absolute epic raw alpha damage. I think we're doing around, yeah, over a 13k volley with this. It's pretty insane. And I went for the 14s over the 800s just because you get that raw hitting power, and it's much easier to break the remote reps of the sleepers and stuff. Although 800s is fine as well. But some of the 1400s, you get a couple of shots like the Awakened Preservers, which are the remote rep cruisers. Pretty weak in general to the other ones, but you can literally one-shot those guys off the grid, and that's pretty awesome to see. Imperial Navy Large Smart Bombs, EMPs. The reason for this, I know they're pretty shiny, and T2s really just don't work, I feel. Even just having one large EMP Imperial Navy or the other faction variant with a 7.5 kilometer range really helps, because in some of the sites, and especially like some of the gas sites, even if you're just clearing out the frigate wave, the frigs will orbit you at longer range than a T2 large smart bomb. So having these Imperial Navies is pretty awesome, because it just wipes them off the field straight away. That's pretty nice. You haven't got to mess around with ranges and stuff. Bastion module, obviously we're a Marauder. If you haven't got one of those fitted on your Marauder, you need to sit down and have a word with yourself. And in the spare high slot we had, we just put a small tractor beam, or you could put like a NOS in there or a Newt or something, just anything. I mean, a Newt would be pretty good, just in case a little scepter jumped on top of you while you weren't in Bastion and stuff, so that's all pretty good. And next up we've got probably the most important part of the ship. Obviously you can see we've got a lot of cap mods and stuff, and the Gisty shield boosters take less cap than the rest to actually use, even though you get a tiny little bit less boost than say on a Pith X one. But you got to remember, when a Marauder will get a standard bonus to a shield boost amount, so that's pretty much negated from this. And having the Gisty A type, it just uses so less cap, which is really awesome, and you still get an epic boost. I mean, we're doing nearly 1,000 rep. Let's have a look here. I don't really want to go over the stats, but yeah, almost 1,000 standard, so that's pretty good, and the cap usage is pretty low. To go with that, we've got a cap recharger and 2 invuls, a target painter, which on TQ I do run this with a Republic Fleet target painter. Just when I copied the ship, for some reason I didn't copy the target painter, so since I'm recording this on CC, I just had to get a T2 target painter, which is all well, and that really helps light them targets up for the 1400s to lay that kill and blow. Micro jump drive, so good on the Marauders with the bonus you get to the reduced cycle times. Absolutely amazing the mobility you get on grid with this thing, and it's always good to be jumping around the place. You don't want to be sitting still when you're doing wormhole stuff, and it mixes in well with the 1400s for the extra range and things. That's pretty nice. And in the low slots, we have got 3 Republic Fleet Gyro Stabilizers to get as much punch out of this as possible. Generally on a PvE ship I would use like 4 damage mods. I know it does stack pretty high, but on this one we needed the extra 2 slots for the power diagnostic systems. And these True Sancho ones are totally worth it, because you do get like an extra 1.5% per on the grid. So if you need to refit this for a cap booster, or drop an invul and have a cap booster on as well as the cap charger, you can do that, as well as still have all your stuff in the highs, because it is a really tight fit. Like this fit, yeah, with T2s would probably fit, but if you put the cap booster on, not going to go. So the True Sancho power diags are pretty good. They don't really cost too much money as well, so I think in the long run they will pay for themselves really quickly, and you'll find yourself a lot better for it, especially if you're on the lower skill bar or a new Marauder pilot. In the rig slot we've got 2 large cap control circuit 2s just to get that epic cap recharge. And since we're all using this in wormhole, we're going to be under Newt pressure pretty much all of the time, so one of the things you really need on a wormhole ship is either a full passive tank where cap's not a problem, and you obviously a capless tank, capless weapon system like a rattlesnake, so you've got missiles and other things like that. So these cap control circuits really help to boost that cap recharge right up. And in the drone bay, guys, we've got ECM drones, all lights. I did experiment with mediums and they just tend to get killed off, and you can't carry as many on your ship as you can with the lights, obviously. So we've got 15 in the hold, and with my experience this month, I can definitely say I'd rather use ECM than light drones. And if you're using T2 small bombs, I would probably take light drones just for the frigs that orbit you like at a longer range. But with these Imperial Navy, you can just wreck them pretty hard, the frigs and stuff. So what I do is I always use my ECM on one of the battleships, and that just alleviates some of the DPS incoming, so I don't have to use my Bastion module like pretty much at all in the C4, which is pretty nice. And also if you get jumped by someone, you can obviously get a chance to get a jam cycle on them and then make your escape. Next up, we're going to take a look at implants, guys. The perfect setup I would like to have is a Geno full set, as well as all these other hardwirings I've got, or even a crystal set would be pretty good, because then you would definitely not have to use Bastion mode at all. So this is just a snapshot of what I've got on TQ. We've got a couple of learning implants, which obviously, because I'm learning stuff, pretty long skills and that. And the rest of them is hardwire based on capacitor and damage and projection. So the first one we've got is a EO603, which gives a 3% recharge rate of the cap. Next up, we've got a MR705, which gives a tracking speed bonus of 5%. Really good for them 1400s. Mixed in with a target painter means you're going to be hitting stuff all the time with no issue. This one is a cap mod, which gives you a 3% to a pool, and that is the EM803. Next up, SS905, which gives an awesome damage multiplier. And I think that is the gun one, not all turret damage ones. So that's pretty good to have just as a general implant as well. And large projectile turret LP 1005 for another 5% damage bonus on top. So all in, we're getting 780 DPS, and like I said earlier, that 13k alpha, or just over the 13k. It's pretty ridiculous, that. And that's pretty much all. So a couple of expensive ones in there, but nothing really too crazy. Now I'd like to talk about survivability. It's all well and good, you've spent like 2.5, nearly 3 bill on a ship. You warp it into a site, anyone could come and scram you in a wormhole, so you need to be prepared. And this is what I keep in my cargo hold every time I take my Vargur out of the POS. Very good defense stuff here. So we've got things for all occasions. We've got a couple of mobile depots. Definitely take more than one, because if I was any good wormhole PvP corp looking for fights, I would definitely be looking out for mobile depots getting deployed on grid. So these ones would be pretty cool, say like some interceptor came and scrammed you, or a single cruiser or something. You could use your mobile depot and then refit all your low slots to your warp core stabs and then make your escape. Obviously that's not going to work if it's a huge group though. Also, I do carry some 800s because they're a lot better at tracking things. If you do get into a fight, you've got much more of a chance than hitting like cruisers and stuff with the 800s than you have the 1400s. So that does make a big difference there. Obviously we've got some mobile depots and stuff for the PvE. Some assorted ammo just for the 800s and the 14s there fit, except the Tremors, that's RT exclusive just for the extra range. Got a ton of nanite paste because you never know when you need to overheat. More drones, just back ECM drones, guys, are really good, like especially in say like a Scepter came and scrammed you could definitely ECM a Scepter off and get away like no probs. Couple of strong pills. They give you an epic boost to your shield boost amount, and as well as Bastion and your Marauder bonus that's going to be keeping you alive for a little bit longer. You won't survive too long, obviously, if a curse comes in and starts wrecking your cap and shit, but you will last quite a lot with that recharge and stuff. And again, if you fit the cap booster, that's going to be a little bit better. So you have got some defense in here, guys. I know it's a lot of money to be carrying around, like 140 mil. And but it will, or it could save you. I mean, it hasn't saved me because I haven't had to use it, but it definitely comes in handy, that's for sure. It's a good safety blanket to have, rather than just like taking your ship out and hoping GG, nothing's there. The cloaking device I do use sometimes, say in the situation where we're farming one of our statics, either the C4 or the C5, maybe something pops up on D, the corp who lives in there is like game active, got our exit hole bubbled or something. I could just walk to a safe, drop a depot, refit the cloak, then obviously make another safe and stuff, and just cloak up and assess the situation, wait for them to get bored or go to sleep, or or the hull and stuff. And I did make a mistake here, guys. Actually, I do normally keep a probe launcher with some probes, just like a shitty T2 one, and that could get you out of a sticky situation as well. If you did have to cloak for a long time and then your wormhole did close, then at least your ship wouldn't be stuck. But if you're going to be like, if you're serious about doing wormhole stuff, you want to get a couple of alts in there. Always get an alt in a cloaky scanny ship to follow you around all the time if you're like day tripping anywhere. That's pretty cool. So that's what I use for some survivability. And also touching on survivability, don't use your Bastion mode unless you need to, guys. There's absolutely no reason to. You've got like a huge range already with that. I'm pretty sure the guns, the lock range goes to like 123 in Bastion, and the guns like max fall off with the Bastion's like 119. So you're doing pretty good damage like out of Bastion anyway, and the rages and stuff. So unless your tank's really struggling, I wouldn't use Bastion, and I would keep micro jump driving all over the grid, obviously while keeping yourself in range of the stuff you want to be shooting, because anyone could be there in like a cloaky Stratios trying to get to you, like slow boating, and if you're stuck in Bastion mode, like GG, haha, making loads of ISK and stuff, but you know, could happen. So that's another little tip. Stay mobile, definitely. And with the Marauder bonus, you get like less than a minute cooldown. Reactivation delay, so this is at level 5, we'll get 54 seconds, but even at level 1, 2, it's much better than a standard battleship would. Definitely keep mobile, that's a good tip. Okay guys, next up we're going to talk about some stats. I will put a little graphic at the bottom left so you can like line them up side by side just to get a good visual representation of where all the tanks are and the DPS and stuff if we add that in. But it's quite hard to sort of visualize from my end just by reading it out. But the tank is, just with the invals on, 62, 64, 69, 75. My target range is 111. That's going to be changing in a little bit. With shield boost, this is one of the most important things on the ship, I feel. Like I said earlier. We're just out of Bastion standard, we'll get 937, so again, not as much as the Pithexes will give you, but lots and lots less cap. So let's hit the Bastion mode on. And that's going to give increased resistances across the board, so that's jumped up quite a bit, 70s and 82, that's pretty nice. And we will gain some range on the guns, so we'll get now an extra 7 kilometers on the optimal, taking up to 37. And 119 fall off, which is pretty good, because that's just about matching with target range, which will still be changing in a sec once we add the links in as well. There's so many stats here, guys. Like, there's the standard ship, the Bastion stuff, and then the links, so it's just going to be crazy to explain. But obviously you're immobile when you're in Bastion mode, but one of the good things about it, let's just cancel that off a sec. The shield boost bonus actually doubles, so you get double tank in Bastion, whether it's shield or armor. It's absolutely insane. So I get just under 2k, like 1.875 repped, and that is massive. So if your tank's struggling, definitely hit that Bastion button. It's pretty awesome. And now we've added the links into the mix, guys, and this is when shit starts to get really broken. Suitonias did a really good job of doing a write-up the other day on Reddit. It was a WordPress thing. I'll probably stick a link in the description. Really good read about how overpowered links are, like how broken they are, and after using them on this ship, I mean, I don't really use them in PvP that much, but after using them on the Vargur, I really see, like, when a ship's got a really good bonus to stuff, like just how broken they become. So I've got 3 siege links and 2 information links. One of the informations gives us the extra range, so my target range goes up to 123. That's not too bad, that's not too bad at all. The target painter on the other link will get the standard on the T2's 34.5%, I believe, and now it goes to just under 40% signature radius bonus. That's a huge deal for a 1400 ship. That's pretty cool for an artillery ship. And one of the main things I think that affects the links with the siege, it's just absolutely insane what this does. So activation cost goes down to 132 gigajoules. Like, that's absolutely insane. Just to put it into comparison, guys, this is an extra large shield booster, albeit the Gisty one, which is meant to save on activation cost. But this one, like a T2 large shield booster, activation cost is 160. So we're saving like what, 28, 30 on the cap per cycle on an extra large than what we do on a large. Like, that's insane, like totally insane to me. And also the siege links give us a 1 second less rep cycle time, so every 3 seconds now instead of 4 seconds. We're doing just over 2k in the Bastion mode. I mean, this is all like for the Bastion as well for the rep, but that 132 will stick with you even if you're not in Bastion, which is absolutely crazy. And the resistance profile goes up as well. So adding links to this shit makes it really powerful. And I do feel, especially for wormholing and stuff, or anything you do, if you've got links, fucking use them because they're just so crazy. Like I said, I don't use them too much. When I tend to use like Lincoln boost alts, I just forget about them and they get blown up like stupidly, but that's just me. I'm sure they're worthy in other situations and stuff, but for PvE, for the wormhole, it's perfect for us in the small gang. Really less DPS coming in, so again, that's leading to like not having to use the Bastion much, and that's really the key to roaming around, especially in the C4. So if you're interested, guys, this is the Tengu link ship which I use in the wormhole. It's super cheap. It's got none of those crazy Dread Garista core processors on that you see on most PvP link ships. So we've got a couple of information warfare links. Sadly, me alt can't use the T2s yet, but he's actually training for them right now. I think they're totally worth it, especially for the wormhole stuff. So that gives you the target painter bonus and the extra range bonus. And then we've got the 3 siege mods which give you the extra resistance, the rep cycle bonus, and the actual capacitor needs, which where the Gisty really shines with that, which it's at its most powerful in that situation. The 4 command processors, obviously, because we've got more than one link on there, so we need them to run the rest. 4 core processors just for the fitting, because it's absolutely crazy how CPU intensive they are. And we've got a polycarbon just for a line time, and a couple of hyperspatial velocity optimizers just for warping in and out of the POS. Not really needed, but it's if you're traveling down your wormhole, that's a pretty good setup to have on your rigs there. So all in all, the rest of it's pretty standard. The warfare processor is the one you need for running the links. We've got the cloak, the covert ops recon fig on there. The cap regen, that's pretty good as well, because the links do take quite a lot of cap to run. And the interdiction nullifier, that's just for in case there's bubbles on wormholes or like null gates and stuff. We can get around that way. And the cloaking device, obviously. So it's pretty insane, guys. If you have got a link alt or whatever, it's totally worth it for using for the Vargur, just to give it the extra bit of OP-ness. And with all that said and done, guys, I think that's coming to the end of the vid. So just a couple of things before we wrap it up here for good. I wish I could take credit for the fit, but as I was looking around for wormhole information, I'm sure you've seen this in previous vids, I came across Bumpbase's channel. And my god, that guy's like, he takes this wormhole and stuff to the next level. He's got some like solo dreadnought stuff in there. Like, he does a lot of marauder things, as well as challenge himself to doing like solo C5 sites and nightmares and other things like that. So definitely check his channel out. I'll put a link up on the screen there, or it should be in the hollow frame thing. And yeah, and also don't forget to check out Suitonias right up on the links. It's a really awesome read, and it just shows you how like crazy OP and broken they are in certain situations. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging around and listening to me babble. I hope it all made sense. If it didn't, feel free to give us a convo in-game or a mail in-game. I've got a Facebook page and all that type of stuff. You can find all the info in the description. So yeah, I look forward to speaking to you guys soon, and I'll see you in the next video.